NBA superstars are drafted in the first round, while later round picks typically end up becoming role players. There could be a lot of reasons why these players fall out of the first round. Maybe they're undersized, maybe their skills are lacking, or maybe they just didn't have a great college or international career. Whatever the reason, some of the top NBA second round picks beat the odds and had successful careers in the game. Here are the top 15 players in NBA history who were drafted in the second round or later. At number 15, we have Paul Millsap. Millsap was drafted 47th overall by the Utah Jazz in 2006 and showed a lot of potential early on. After 7 seasons with the Jazz, the small big man gradually emerged as a star. He continued his rise with the Atlanta Hawks, who eventually gave him a multi-year deal worth over $60 million. He didn't disappoint, as he appeared in 4 consecutive All-Star games and averaged over 17 points per game during that span. Maurice Cheeks at number 14 was a 4-time NBA All-Star who led the Philadelphia 76ers to victory over Magic Johnson and Los Angeles Lakers in 1983. The 4-time All-Star was picked 36th overall by the squad, with which he won a championship in 1978. Cheeks was also a 4-time member of the NBA's All-Defensive First Team and was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame in 2018. Moving on to number 13, we have Khris Middleton. The path of becoming one of the best second-round picks was not smooth. Khris Middleton, the 39th choice in the 2012 NBA Draft, had to earn his way up after being selected by the Pistons. He spent time in the G League before getting his big opportunity with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks really put their trust in him by giving him a monstrous 5-year, $177 million contract, and Middleton proved his worth by making 3 All-Star appearances and helping bring Milwaukee a championship in 2021. Not bad for a player who played for the Fort Wayne Mad Ants in 2012. Number 12 is Dennis Rodman. The Pistons selected Dennis Rodman with the 27th overall pick in 1986. As soon as he stepped onto the court, Rodman became one of the league's finest defenders and rebounders. During his tenure with the Bad Boy Pistons, he contributed to back-to-back championships and was named Defensive Player of the Year twice. He also led the league in rebounding for 7 years in a row from 1991 to 1998. In addition to defense and rebounding, his role with the Bulls was to irritate and confuse opponents. His actions on and off the court made him one of the most controversial athletes ever. But despite his setbacks, Rodman became a 5-time NBA champion, a 2-time All-NBA selection, a 2-time All-Star, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and was selected to 8 All-Defensive teams. Alright, let us move on to number 11 and talk about Gilbert Arenas, who rose to prominence as one of the generation's best players after the Golden State Warriors selected him with the 31st overall pick in 2001. Playing in the NBA from 2001 to 2012 isn't a long time for a star, but he accomplished so much in such a short time as an NBA All-Star. He was named to the All-NBA second team in 2007 after winning the NBA's Most Improved Player award in 2003. Not bad for a guy who had 30 other players picked before him. Now that the drafting is getting hotter, we'd love if you can dunk on that subscribe button and like this video. This will go a long way to helping us get drafted to the YouTube Hall of Fame like Maurice Cheeks. Now, let's continue with our number 10 spot, Dennis Johnson. Yes, Johnson didn't have to be drafted early to have a successful career. Some may even call him one of the best draft steals in history. The Seattle Supersonics drafted him 29th overall in 1976. He spent 5 years with them and helped them win a title in 1979, while also winning Finals MVP. After his time in Seattle, he went to the Phoenix Suns, and then in 1983, he teamed up with Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics, where he helped the squad win 2 NBA titles. Johnson would later be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, did you know there is always a price to be paid for the prize? Yeah, that was the case with Mark Price in our number 9. Teams that passed on Price in the draft paid the price because Price was right. He was drafted 25th overall by the Dallas Mavericks in 1986 and went on to become a 4-time All-Star and 2-time NBA three-point shooting champion. He was a member of the 50-40-90 club in 1989 and retired as one of the greatest deals in NBA history in 1998. I know what you're thinking, that was pretty short, but not as short as our next player. At number 8, we have Calvin Murphy, who stands at 5'9" inches tall. He demonstrated that height isn't always everything. When he was drafted 18th overall by the San Diego Rockets in 1970, he averaged 17.9 points per game throughout the course of his career. As an All-Star in 1979 and was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame, he also scored at least 1,000 points for 11 seasons in a row. What a record. Yeah, sure, this record is alarming, but wait till you see the next player. Yes, Toni Kukoc at number 7 was frequently overlooked while talking about the best players of the 1990s. Toni Kukoc demonstrated his potential to have a significant impact on American basketball as one of the first wave of European players to join the league. The Bulls selected him with the 29th overall pick in the 1993 NBA Draft. As a result of his three-point shooting, playmaking, and rebounding, Kukoc was a crucial component for Chicago. He was their sixth-man player and flourished in the spotlight alongside Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Kukoc received the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award in 1996 as a result of his outstanding performance. Kukoc also won the NBA championship 3 times before the end of his career. He may have had a little help with those championships, but Kukoc was a steal of a draft pick nonetheless. And now for number 6, we have Nathan Tiny Archibald. Archibald dominated during the 1970s as one of the fastest and shiftiest players ever. In 1970, the Cincinnati Royals selected him 19th overall. Archibald won a championship with the Boston Celtics in 1981 and was a 6-time NBA All-Star who made the first team 3 times. Yeah, things about to become even more interesting because for number 5, we have Manu Ginobili, who was 1/3 of the San Antonio Spurs' renowned Big Three. After being selected 57th overall in 1999, he led the team to victories in 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2014. In San Antonio, he, Tim Duncan, and Tony Parker are considered legends. Ginobili was named an All-Star in both 2005 and 2011. I could make a whole video about Manu. That man could ball. At number 4, we have Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol was selected by the Los Angeles Lakers in the 48th overall choice in the 2007 NBA Draft. In a deal involving his brother Paul Gasol, his draft rights were eventually traded to the Grizzlies as soon as he was selected. He contributed to the development of the Grizzlies' iconic identity. As the rest of the league switched to a fast-paced game, their grit and grind system stood out. 3-time All-Star Gasol even co-created history with his brother. The Gasol brothers made history in 2015 when they started in the same All-Star game. A former Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time All-NBA pick, and NBA champion, the Big Burrito was one hell of a pick. Now, let's talk about Draymond Green in our number 3 spot, who is one of the most vocal NBA players of all time. It's no surprise that Draymond Green has a podcast. In the 2012 NBA Draft, Green was chosen as the 35th overall choice, but his style of play differs from the majority of the second-round picks on this list. He is not excessively ambitious and plays fundamentally, but it's no doubt he has developed into one of the Warriors' most valuable players. Over the course of his 10 NBA seasons, Green's career has been very successful. 4 titles, 4 All-Star games, 7 NBA All-Defensive Team selections, and 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards is quite the achievement. At the 2016 Olympics, he also took home the gold. It won't come as a surprise if Green continues to add accolades to his trophy cabinet because his career is far from over. Alex English. Alex English will be our number 2 player because the Denver Nuggets have frequently selected some of the finest players in the second round. However, some individuals continue to disregard Alex English. Although he will always be associated with the Nuggets, English's NBA debut with the 2 distinct teams was difficult. The Milwaukee Bucks selected him with the 23rd pick of the 1976 NBA Draft, but he had difficulty fitting into the team's offensive scheme. He later moved to the Indiana Pacers, where he flourished as a starting point guard. Arriving in Denver marked the turning point in his professional career. During English's second complete season in Denver, he was named an All-Star. In addition, he won the scoring title the following season after averaging 28.4 points per game during the 1982-1983 season. With 8 All-Star appearances and 3 All-NBA selections, his impact on the league is difficult to dispute. And in 1997, English was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And finally, for our number 1 spot, we have the newest NBA champion, Nikola Jokic, who was drafted 41st overall by the Denver Nuggets in 2014. This man was so low on the draft board that ESPN broadcasted a Taco Bell commercial while his name was being announced. Nonetheless, This did not prevent the big Serb from demonstrating his capabilities. During his second season, he improved his stats, averaging 16.7 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game. He was gradually becoming a fan favorite due to his altruistic and creative playing style. His career is still in its infancy, but with 7 seasons under his belt, he has solidified himself as one of the best players in the league. Jokic has been named to 4 All-Star teams, 4 All-NBA teams, and the 2015-16 All-Rookie team, and has won the Most Valuable Player award on 2 separate occasions. Many would argue that he should have won his 3rd MVP in 2023, but I'm sure he'll be okay with his NBA championship and Finals MVP awards. Jokic will undoubtedly retire as one of the greatest second-round picks in NBA history. What was your team's best second-round pick? Tell us in the comment section below. See you next time.